G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user Katie the Baby, titled, I, 21 female, found a spy camera in my room after my stepdad, 36 male, put up a surveillance camera in my room. My stepdad installed a surveillance camera positioned outside of my window to scan our backyard while him and my mother and two younger brothers go camping. I couldn't go on the trip since I had work, so I was staying home to house sit and feed our animals. My stepdad recently put up new cameras outside, so I didn't see anything wrong with him positioning one outside of my window. Come to find out, the very next day, I had my boyfriend stay over, and he found that the surveillance camera was ran from outside my window and into my room was being powered by one of those spy camera power blocks. For context, my relationship with my stepdad hasn't always been the best, and we tend to butt heads a lot. He's said a lot of questionable things in the past that I've written off, because he's my dad and I would never think he intended to be inappropriate or harmful. He's been in my life since I was 8 years old. Of course, I'm second-guessing everything now that I've found this camera. It was positioned to point directly at my bedroom door from the far wall, so it has direct view of my entire room, which I change in. I tried desperately to rationalize it and think that it was maybe a mistake, like he grabbed the wrong charger box, or maybe he was just trying to look for intruders, but really, there is no excuse for putting a camera in my bedroom. The camera even had an SD card in it. I'm beyond devastated. My stepdad even suggested that I invite my boyfriend over while they're gone, so I have someone here, which is something he would never do considering he's made it clear before that he doesn't want him over when no one is home because he doesn't want us screwing in his home. My boyfriend and I are going through the SD card to see if there is anything on it. I am at a complete loss at how to even bring this up to my mom. I confided in my aunt and uncle since they live close by, and they have been very supportive of me having a conversation with my mom about it. This whole situation is extremely upsetting. I at least have some family to support me as I navigate this, but I don't even know how to bring this up to my mom. This is obviously going to change everything. She had my 5-year-old half-brother with him. My mind is racing with the consequences this is going to have on our family. Has anyone that has been in a similar situation have any advice? How can I do this without causing extreme damage to the family, although that may be impossible? Thank you in advance. In the comments, Kelly Barazzolo says, "Sorry, but this is deliberate. It's no mistake. I would gather evidence, as already stated. My concern is how long he's been doing this and how many people are affected. Trust your gut." OP replies, "I'm very concerned about this as well. I have 2 brothers who are minors, and he's been in my life for over 18 years now, so who's to say he hasn't recorded me before, or even them, or even distributed it? It's so terribly devastating to come to terms with him being this evil. He even installed these cameras while I was asleep, so there was no doubt that he was hoping I wouldn't notice. Mentally prepare yourself for your mom to not support you on this. I would love to be wrong, but I've read too many stories on here where the mum turns on her daughter in similar situations. And in my different yet similar situation, it turned out my mother was involved. Cops first, always. You did good. You did great. You did everything you can do. Be proud. Be proud as hell. This, I'm sure, will not be easy going forward. Doing the right thing is often hardest on the person doing good. I wish you the best of luck." And OP replies, "Thank you for your words. Comments like this are what's keeping me going while navigating this nightmare." Complete Entry says, "It's not a mistake. If you find anything on that SD card, I'd honestly go to the cops before going to your mom. In many of these situations, wives back the shitbird instead of their kids. The entire outdoor camera thing was a pretext to get that camera in your room. Extreme damage is warranted, considering there are minor children in the home. Get a smartphone and check the bathrooms. Just because this is the first spy cam you found does not mean that it will be the only one. Smartphones can see IR sensors. As to how to bring this up to your mom, there is no gentle way, only blunt. But blunt is appropriate in this situation. There is no lighter side to spy cameras." And OP replies, "Considering there are many other windows in the house facing the backyard that he could use, I agree. I think I've come to full terms with this, and I'm no longer making any excuses. I will just air it all out. especially since I need to protect my brothers in this too. Thank you. And now, onto the update. So I don't want to make a whole new thread since I want to make a new update when my parents get back on Monday, but I want to thank everyone for all the advice. I went to the police station tonight and filed a police report and turned in the spy camera with the SD card. The officer said that this is a serious offense, and I will likely get a call early next week from an investigator due to the severity of the situation. I'm planning on telling my mother about the police report after we have a conversation about this on Monday with my aunt and uncle present. As for the people messaging me about my profile, thank you for reminding me to delete personal information. Please do not dox or try to seek any sort of justice for me, as this may affect my case. Respect my privacy during this time, please, as it may be crucial during this investigation. This was the hardest thing that I ever had to do, but whatever this shit was, it's ending with me. I hope I can get justice for myself and any other victims who may have been violated by him, since this will be heavily investigated, and the officer said that it will likely be looked into further, such as search warrants and looking for more SD cards. I'm hanging on by a thread, but the support I have is what's keeping me together. I'm staying with my boyfriend tonight to keep out of the house. Thanks again for all of the love and supportive messages. I'll update again soon. Update 2. It's the next morning, and once my boyfriend wakes up, we're going back to my house today to look for any more secret cameras, either in the bathroom or in my brother's room, so I can submit it for more evidence. I'm iffy about searching my parents' room for more evidence, as it's likely that he has a hidden camera in there to see me do it. Still on the fence about having a police officer search the house. If I do, I'll be sure to update after I'm finished and in a safe place. My aunt has offered to come with me to help me search. Again, thank you everyone for the support. I'm trying as best I can to do this the right way and get as much done with the time that I have left. I'm mentally and emotionally drained, but I'll be seeking resources once all of this is said and done. I'm reading everyone's comments, so I'm taking all of the advice I can get. Update 3. I probably won't be able to update for a few days since today is the day that I want to talk to my mum, but I just wanted to share the plan that I made and hopes for what happens today. After talking with my aunt, uncle, boyfriend, and my cousin, who is a civil lawyer, I've decided that I will speak to my mum in a separate location from my stepdad. Most likely I'll have her meet me somewhere outside of our home. I'll have my aunt with me, and this is where I'll explain everything to her. The camera, the past uncomfortable experiences that I've had with my stepdad that I originally brushed off because he was my dad, video footage of him deliberately setting it up and angling it, and footage of me in my room. I'm praying she understands why I had to go to my aunt instead of her, considering she was not in town, and I was worried for her safety if I told her what happened. She was stuck with him and my brothers about 4 hours away for the weekend. I'm hoping with my aunt there and her being away from my stepdad that it'll prevent her from reacting out of anger and search for him and escalate the situation then and there, and I hope my aunt can provide some support for myself and her. I'm prepared for her to go through the same processes that I went through, such as reasoning and denial. But with the evidence, there's no possible way she can deny it. I'm preparing myself for the worst. I just hope that I can be strong for her and support her as this all hits her like it did me. I will not be returning home or facing him today. My boyfriend will be on standby to pick up my brothers if needed, since my aunt has offered for them to stay with us so that my mum can talk to my stepdad without them there. I'll ask my mum to meet me, and of course, not tell my stepdad about the circumstances. Maybe she can tell him that she's going to the grocery store. I don't want him getting any hints that she could be meeting me. I know I've said it a lot, but I truly do appreciate the support system that I have, not only with my family, but here too. This has been a nightmare, but hearing everyone's stories about this, proving it's way too common, is what is helping me get through this and pushing me to do the right thing. Not only am I a victim in this, but my boyfriend as well, and God knows who else. The confrontation won't happen for about another 7 hours, so in the meantime, I'll be reading over comments and preparing myself for what comes today. Thank you guys. Update 4. Hi guys, I know a lot of people have been waiting for an update on what's happened and about my safety. For the reasons that my post is becoming somewhat viral and showing up on other platforms, I don't think I can share many other details until the ball starts rolling with the police report. Just know that I'm safe, and I have been very busy the past few days with apartment hunting, working, and attempting to heal. Most of you may have guessed it, but my stepdad got to my mum before I was able to, and you can kind of assume how that's been going. I promise that once the investigation actually starts, and my mum finds out about it, I'll be here sharing more of what happened. I don't want to remove my post in case someone else may be going through the same thing and needs the support of you guys, as shown in my comments. I appreciate everyone rooting for me, and I'm sorry to say that my mother isn't on my side right now. I've more so been focusing on myself since the conversation and trying to make the most of the situation. On the bright side, I've been able to hang with my cousin, and she helps me keep my mind off things. I'm doing my best and will update when it feels like the right time. Thank you guys. In the comments, Tater Mitz says, "Literally just finished reading your first post about 30 minutes ago and came back to follow. What you're going through is so deeply disturbing, I couldn't shake it and want to get updates to make sure that you're okay. I got a sinking feeling about reading you wanting to speak with your mother before her husband got to her. I just felt like you knew, and it's unfortunate to hear that that is the case. As you said, she's likely on a roller coaster of emotions and confusion similar to what you experienced and are experiencing. That doesn't excuse her reaction. You deserve the support of your mum. I just hope that she snaps out of whatever hold he has on her very soon and rushes to your side with an authentic apology. Your boyfriend and other family members sound like awesome, supportive people, so thank goodness for them. But the real MVP of the situation, in my honest opinion, is you. This has to be extremely stressful to say the least, and you're handling things with dignity and with courage. I hope you recognize that." And OP replies, "Thank you so much. I think I'm holding out hope that she'll come around too. I went through similar emotions that she's probably feeling, so I'm giving her some time to process it. I'm sure it's harder for her with him being the only one around her to physically tell his side. Once everything is said and done, I will tell my whole story here, and it'll probably make more sense as to why she believes him over me. It's not right, and my aunt is upset with her too, but unfortunately I understand why she's siding with him. He's a narcissist and a master manipulator, so although it doesn't surprise me, it is very disappointing." Our next post is by user female on WoW, titled, "Am I the asshole for screaming at my mother today and ignoring my brother for 4 years?" 4 years ago, my brother got married and I was supposed to be a bridesmaid with a +1. I was going to take my partner, but we broke up shortly before. When my brother heard that we weren't together anymore, he gave my +1 away. The invite was for myself +1, not myself plus partner, so I had invited a friend to attend with me instead. Around 3 days before the wedding, he told me that I could no longer have the +1 as he had given the seat to somebody else. My +1 had traveled to my house for this event and was already there and ready to rock and roll. This really upset me, so I chewed my brother out, cancelled my own attendance, and stayed home with my friend. Fast forward to now, he's getting married again next year on my mother's 50th birthday. First one was a divorce within 2 years. My mother really wants me to be there and asked me to put the past behind me. I'm okay with this, so I said that if he apologizes, I will also apologize, and we will move on. The issue is that she is vehemently defending him over our falling out, saying that I'm spiteful and only think of myself. She said nothing about his poor communication and that he told me days before the wedding that my +1 was no longer valid. She's just going in circles and asking me to do it for her, but now I'm extremely angry because she's basically blaming me for the whole thing. I spoke to her not too long ago on the phone, and I ended up shouting at her because she would not let it go that it was all my fault. I love my mother very, very much, but this just hurts me. I tried to explain from my perspective, but she just dismisses it and claims that you were in a bad place back then, which has nothing to do with it and wouldn't have affected anything wedding-related. It feels like she's using my mental health as a crutch rather than addressing how crappy my brother was to do that to me. Now I don't know what to feel, I'm just still so angry. Am I the asshole for this? I'll gladly accept the verdict if I am, I just need to know. Edit ad, I was single when I first received the invite. I just happened to be taking my partner when we got together. Edit 2, I'm a hot-headed, stubborn, petty asshole, and I accept that. Thanks for setting me straight. I'm currently on the phone to my mother booking our rooms for his wedding. In the comments, Dudist Priest says, not the asshole. A +1 is just that. It's for you to bring a date. Now, I understand that space can be limited, so making changes is sometimes necessary, but doing it 3 days prior when the person has already traveled puts this squarely on your brother. I also don't think that it's worth arguing about years after the fact. Everyone should just agree to disagree and understand that everyone has a point of view and it was a bit of a stressful situation. OP replies, I think the fact that he told me 3 days before was the catalyst. If he had told me that he was revoking it when he found out that I'd split up with my partner, I wouldn't have been fussed because that was weeks before and I wouldn't have minded going alone. It just felt really dickish that he waited till 3 days before to let me know, and by doing that, he inadvertently caused somebody else to take a pointless, long journey to my house. I'm going to reconcile with him either way. I've been stubborn and bitter for 4 years, and that's 4 years of family time that I can't get back. Dudist Priest replies, well, that's great and a very mature position to take. You can either be right and miserable, or chalk it up to just an unfortunate set of events and get on with life. And OP replies, thank you. I'll admit that at some point my bitterness turned to shame that I've acted so negatively, so I avoided the topic because I didn't want to admit how petty not speaking to him for so long was. I know that it was stupid and childish, so I just deflected every time somebody mentioned it, and then got defensive and angry because I was embarrassed. I needed the opinion of others to solidify to myself that I needed to get over it, stop causing a rift, and enjoy the time we have. Viva la Capitana says, info, and apologies if this has been answered elsewhere, although I didn't think it was. 1. Are you invited to this wedding? You don't actually say that you are. Your mother wants you there, but that isn't quite the same thing. 2. Has your brother personally attempted to reach out at any point since to try and clear the air? If the answer to the second is no, I'm not sure trying to clear the air on his wedding day is the prudent thing to do. If anything, it should happen well away from the festivities. If the answer to the first is no, then you probably shouldn't go anyway. And OP replies, hello. 1. I am most definitely invited to this wedding. He requested it via my mother as I've ignored him in the past when he's reached out. 2. Answered this in the first part, but yes. Very recently he messaged me and attempted to talk, so I've now responded to that. I'm not delusional enough to turn up to a wedding uninvited and just be like, hey, let's reconcile. Haha. We are actively repairing our relationship, and it is planned that I will attend. Thank you for your comment. Rough Start says, I don't get all the asshole votes. At the very least, I'd say everyone sucks here because you've held a relatively petty grudge for 4 years. However, him waiting until 3 days before the wedding to update you that your +1 had been revoked is an asshole move. Your mum's attitude sucks too. You were not the sole person to blame over what happened, but you are the sole reason the grudge has been held so long. It was poor communication and assumption on the brother's part. OP's response is totally disproportionate. You're the asshole. But does that excuse the mother defending her son giving away her +1 and blaming her daughter, OP, for being in a bad place? The Herminator says, you're the asshole. You skipped your brother's wedding over a miscommunication, which frankly, was very easy for him to assume that you would no longer need a +1. Not only that, but you've held on to this for 4 years and expect an apology from him? No, he doesn't owe you one. Go celebrate him and your mum this time around and try to mend fences. The original situation is really not worth the pettiness and drama that you are now causing. And OP replies, I was angry when typing this and may have gone a little bit overboard. As you can probably tell, I am quite hot-headed. I don't expect an apology in all fairness. I want to discuss and clear the air so that we can celebrate our mum. I just hit defense mode when my mum goes at me and instantly get angry. That's a me problem, I know. I'm currently on the phone to her planning our rooms for his wedding. Thanks for your judgment. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.